I think that with French music, there is just an unadulterated pleasure in sound. It doesn't have to be leading anywhere. It can just be that momentary intake of breath or intake of perfume. Maurice Duruflé was a composer, he was a teacher. Above all, he was an organist. He didn't write a great deal of music, but what he did write is utterly memorable. I think the Requiem is by far his greatest work. The Requiem was as a result of a commission during the Second World War. This is a Requiem like no other Requiem. So one thinks of a Requiem, you think of Johannes Brahms, you think of course you think of Giuseppe Verdi, where the Dies Irae, this feeling of the Day of Judgment, the terror, the violence, this apocalyptic aspect of the Requiem. With Duruflé, and I'm sure this had a great deal with after the overwhelming trauma of the Second World War, where a world was destroyed yet again. I genuinely feel that he could not put into music, nor did he want to put into music, something violent, something apocalyptic. Everybody was in shock. This work, in other words, is a great deal more reflective. It's not a long work, it's a very modest work. There is a Dies Irae, it lasts something like 35 seconds. It's just this flare-up, but that is not what this piece is about. This is more like a lament. A man who still, the war, the devastation, the trauma notwithstanding, a man who will not let go of his faith. But he's been, like everyone, has been tried and tested. And the music is, as I say, is intimate, it is quiet. There's great joy, there's great beauty. There's sadness in this. It's a work that he kept coming back to through 1961, making revisions. There were 4 versions, one with just organ, one with a chamber orchestra, and we've chosen in the Sydney Opera House to perform it with there's a full, it's not a large orchestra, but a full orchestra with organ, with 2 soloists and with chorus, of course. I'm very excited to be featuring this work for the very first time with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Debussy wanted music to be something in a way, not necessarily this journey. It didn't have to be symphonic. It could be just beautiful. It could just be a chord, and then another chord, and then another surprising chord. The beauty of something in the moment. When you come to this very early work, La Demoiselle Élue, it's a ravishingly beautiful work. I fell in love with this music as a student, and wherever I get a chance to put it on, I will. And then, of course, the program begins with something a great deal more familiar to our audiences, the Nocturnes. These 3 works, these, once again, the word Impressionism. The impressions of nuages, the clouds, first movement, fête, festivals, the second, and then sirène, sirens in the third. The sirens, basically, Debussy's lifelong fascination with the sea, and imagining these sirènes like the Lorelei, sailors being lured to their doom. Nuages, the clouds moving across a landscape, across the sky, and the fête, this fantastical vision of festivals, merriment, and this, that, and the other. But as I say, impressions of the Impressionism, and once again, the pleasure of programming pieces together. I hope that our audience will make that progression from the Nocturne, the Debussy, then on to Duruflé, who was a passionate admirer of Debussy, but in his own way, he was now writing 50 years after Debussy, had taken harmony in a different direction. He was fed by other influences, if you like, and I think it makes for a very compelling program.